Into match number 3, we go now over in the AFCON, where some nations already eliminated and some nations already through to the last 16. What's, of course, on the docket this weekend? We're going to take a little look next. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction video. Today we look forward to match number 3, part 1, of course, over in the AFCON, of course, as some nations trying to book their spots in the last 16, and some nations, of course, are already planning their trip home. Of course, we'll take a look at the situation, all of it, in a second. Of course, big shout out to my VIPs. They are the patrons, of course, and if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Your one-stop shop for the AFCON continues right here at Blackburn Overseas. So let's, of course, jump into the deep end and recap the results from match number 2, part 1. Now, these are the games that involve the nations from Groups A all the way through to Group C. So let's take a look at it then, shall we? Equatorial Guinea against Guinea-Bissau was a 1-1 draw in my eyes, but a 4-2 result in the end, of course, secured the last 16 berth for Equatorial Guinea. And, of course, Guinea-Bissau already eliminated, unfortunately. Meanwhile, one of the bigger games of the day, the hosts, Ivory Coast, lost to Nigeria. 1-0 was the final score there. I went with a 2-1 win for Ivory Coast, so egg on my face indeed. Meanwhile, one of the games of the day, Egypt against Ghana, 2-2 a draw in the end, keeps both nations in. But both nations yet to get a victory, of course, as one of the favourites, or both these two nations, one of the top 8 favourites, you would imagine. I did actually predict an Egypt victory, so Ghana still in the thick of things, but they've got a lot of work to do none the same. Cape Verde have been the surprise package so far in the tournament. They picked up a 2-0 win. Actually, it was a 3-0 win. Sorry, that should be a 3-0 win. 3-0 win there for Cape Verde. I actually went with the 1-0 win myself. So, good win for them. They're through to the last 16, and they're already through as group winners as well. Another game of the day there, of course, it was champion Senegal up against Cameroon. 3-1 win it was in the end. I went with the draw, so not great in my eyes. And then wrapping up there, of course, it was it Mali? Sorry, it's actually Guinea. Guinea picking up a cheeky result against Gambia there. 1-0 result was the final score. I went with the 2-1 win as well. So the situation, of course, in the tables looks like this. As you can see, Ecuador, Guinea, I think they're pretty much there. I think 4 points is going to be enough, whether it is a third place team or as a runners-up or what have you, of course. But they've got a game to see if they can top the group over in Group A. They've been fantastic so far, and of course Nigeria and Ivory Coast look like they have enough in the tank to get into the last 16 in some shape or form. Meanwhile, Group B, a bit of a weird one going on in Group B. Of course, Cape Verde are winners. That's guaranteed. They cannot be caught. Egypt and Ghana got it all to do as well. Ghana taking on Mozambique. Egypt taking on Cape Verde, who are already through. So we'll see how that pans out as well. Into Group C, though, Senegal are also through there. Guinea look like they've just got enough in the tank. Cameroon have got it all to do as well. They need a win, and they need a convincing one as well, because the goal difference is taking a bit of a pinch. So we'll see if they can come out on top as well. So let's take a look at match number 3, of course, part 1. Of course, don't forget to come back for part 2 when we look at this. Now, each one of these games has their own video, so make sure you check those out. But we're going to start right here with Guinea-Bissau up against Nigeria. That's, of course, over in Group A. Now, these two sides are locking horns on the 22nd of January at the Stade Félix Houphouët-Boigny, of course. Both games are kicking off at the same time, so no funny bees. That's right. These two sides played each other 3 times in 2002. We've got 1 for Guinea-Bissau, 2 for Nigeria. No draws, of course. The biggest win for Guinea-Bissau was a 1-0 win. In fact, they've just got 1 goal scored in those 3 games, 0.33 goals a game on average. Nigeria, the Super Eagles, of course, 2 wins for them, 2-0 win the biggest, 3 goals scored in those 3 games, 1 goal a game on average. They're coming at you on 58% form. Nigeria just 1 defeat in the last 6. However, they need a result. Of course, Guinea-Bissau, though, coming into this on 25% form for them. They are 4th in the table. They are already eliminated. 3 defeats on the spin. Not looking good for them at the moment. Last time that these two sides played each other was a 1-0 win for Nigeria back in March 2023. It was in the African Cup of Nations qualification phase when Nigeria came out on top with that one and only win. The bookies odds for this one, we have Guinea-Bissau 12-1 for the victory. They are, of course, already packing their bags. 5-1 is the draw. 4-1 on is in Nigeria here, of course. I am backing, of course, the Super Eagles to come out on top with a 2-0 win, which will be enough to get themselves through to the last 16, probably as group runners-up at the very least. Meanwhile, in the same group, it will be Ivory Coast taking on Equatorial Guinea over on the same match day on the 22nd of Jan. That's right, this is at the Stade Olympique Alassane Ouattara. Now, these two sides have played each other 3 times since 2012. Nothing but Equatorial Guinea. 2 wins for Ivory Coast. There's been 1 draw so far between these two sides. Equatorial Guinea just 1 goal scored in those 3 games. Scores 0.33 goals a game on average. Ivory Coast on the flip side, 3-0 in the biggest. Scoring 5 goals in total in the course of those 3 games. 1.67 goals a game heading into this one. 75% form, though, for Ivory Coast right now. Just 1 defeat of the last 6. That was that defeat against Nigeria. Equatorial Guinea coming just unbeaten in the last 10 games, of course. 75% form for them over the last 6. 3 wins the last 4, of course. These two sides did play each other back in January 2022. It was a 1-0 win for the Ivory Coast. But the bookies' odds for this one, we do have 9-1 to Equatorial Guinea. They are underdogs. 5-2 on is, of course, Nigeria. And, of course, we've got 60-5 is the draw here. Of course, got a tight one here. Going to go with a 2-1 win. I think Equatorial Guinea can compete here. Might cause Ivory Coast some problems, but I think, again, usually in these sort of scenarios where it is quite fine margins, the cream will rise to the top here. Ivory Coast have too many good players, and I think there'll be 3 points in the bag for them. Next up, of course, my tip for the title, staring at elimination, of course, take it Ghana up against Mozambique on Monday, January 22nd. Now, these two sides have played each other 2 times, 2016, nothing for Mozambique, 1 for Ghana, 1 draw so far between the two sides. Mozambique, though, just the 1 goal scored in the course of those 2 games, 0.50 goals a game on average. Ghana's one and only win was a 3-1 win. In fact, they've only scored 3 goals against Mozambique in the course of those 2 games, 1.50 goals a game on average. Ghana, though, without a win in the last 4, just 1 win in the last 6. They're on 33% form for them right now. Mozambique, the same, 1 win in the last 6, of course, and both sides coming to this with just 1 point so far. It's not going to be enough. I don't think 2 points is going to be enough either, so a win is needed from both these two sides coming at you. Last time around, though, it was a draw between the two sides, both way back in March 2016. That was in the Africa Cup of Nations qualification phase way back when. The odds here for this match, Mozambique are 92 for the victory, 11-8 on. As of course, Ghana 12-5 is the draw. So the bookies have Ghana at favourite here. I've also gone with a 1-0 narrow win. It's not going to be great, it's not going to be pretty, it's not going to be stellar, but of course that win should be enough to put them in the discussion for a last 16 berth. Maybe as a runners-up, but possibly as a third-place team, and that's not really the way to go. And of course, that'll probably set you up with a bit of a tasty last 16 match. But that's, of course, a story for another day. We'll look at that, of course, when it comes to it. Of course, next up, we do have Cape Verde already there, already qualified, already group winners. Of course, taking on an Egypt side yet to get a victory so far. Coming at you at the Stade Felix Houphouët-Boigny, of course, on the 22nd of Jan. Same time as the Mozambique-Ghana game. Now, these two sides, again, never play each other. Heading into this one, Cape Verde, they're on 58% form for them. Just 1 defeat of the last 5. Of course, looking pretty good right now. Again, possibly rotating their 11 to maybe get some other minutes to some other players. Meanwhile, Egypt, 75% form for them right now. Unbeaten in at least the last 7 games, but back-to-back draws heading into this one. Cape Verde, they'll come into this on the back of their 2 wins so far against Ghana and Mozambique, scoring 5 goals in total thus far. Egypt on the back of consecutive 2-2 draws, and of course looking to get that illustrious victory to get them through to the last 16. I do believe that Cape Verde will take it easy here. I don't think they're not going to come at you with full Celt, with the full roster that they've been in the previous 2 games. Why should they? Why should they play their strongest team in a situation where it cannot be changed? Even if Egypt tonked them 25-0, it ain't going to change the fact that Cape Verde have come out of this group top billing. So I do expect a weakened side from Cape Verde, which of course will create a massive opportunity for Egypt to secure their berth in the last 16. So I'm going to go with a victory, actually going to go with a draw. Why am I going with a draw? Am I happy with that? I'm going to stick with that. I've got to stick with it. I put it down there on ink. I did say 11-2 is the bookies' odds for Cape Verde. 50-8 on is, of course, Egypt, and 60-5 is the draw. That is a scenario which, of course, causes some problems for Egypt. I don't know if it's going to be enough or not. I think I actually did go with a 2-1 win in my actual prediction video for this match. So 2-1 win, 1-1 draw, whatever. We'll let it slide here. But of course, I'm saying it to the camera. 2-1 win for Egypt, realistically. Next up, we have Gambia up against Cameroon. Of course, that's taking place on Tuesday, the 23rd of January. Now, these two sides, again, take place at the Stade de la Plie. Play each other, of course, over in Group C. This will be their 4th match they played each other since 2015. Nothing for Gambia, 3 for Cameroon, 0 draws, of course, at the moment. Gambia, though, coming to this without scoring a goal against Cameroon. On the flip side, Cameroon packing up a 2-0 win, their biggest, scoring 5 goals in total over the course of the 3 games, 1.67 goals a game on average. Cameroon, though, you're really not got going so far, just the 1 point so far. 42% form for them, heading into this one, just 1 win in 6. Meanwhile, Gambia, 4 defeats on the spin for them, 25% form for them. Of course, these two sides did play each other back in the quarterfinal stages of the AFCON last time around. Back in 2022, it was a 2-0 win for Cameroon, who've won 3 in the spin against Gambia and have also yet to concede a goal against them. Meanwhile, coming at you, Gambia 11-2 for the victory, 5-2 is the draw, 30-8 on is, of course, Cameroon, who have been very, very rusty so far. And I do think there's still a little bit rust in the legs in this one. I think I'm going to go with a narrow 1-0 win for Cameroon, which will be enough for the last 16 berth and put them in the conversation for, again, at least a 3rd place spot, but hopefully for them, a runners-up spot as well. Into the final one we go now is Guinea Senegal, of course, coming at you on Tuesday, January the 23rd. These two sides have played each other 2 times, 2006. We've got nothing for Guinea, 1 for Senegal, 1 draw. Of course, the biggest win for Guinea is 0. They've not got a win. They have scored 2 goals in the course of those 2 games. That's a goal a game on average. Senegal, though, 3-2 win. Their biggest, scored 3 goals in total over the course of those 2 games, 1.50 goals a game on average. Senegal, though, looking very good right now, 92% form for them, pretty much faultless so far in this competition. Meanwhile, Guinea on 67% form for them right now, just 1 defeat the last 6, also a perfect record, or at least unbeaten record so far in this tournament. These two sides did play each other way back in January 2022. It was in the Africa Cup of Nations last time around. It was in Group B, ended up all square, 0-0 in the end. The bookies' odds on this situation over in this group has what we got going on. We've got Guinea 14-5 for the victory, 23-20 is your Senegal. Of course, 2-1 is the draw. It's quite tight odds on the bookies on that one. I am actually going to go with a 2-0 win for Senegal, who have been pretty much perfect so far in this competition. And of course, so far, I don't see any bump in the road for them as they try to successfully defend their title. 3-1 win for me, which of course will put them through as group winners, and of course comfortably done as well. That's of course my take on it, guys. Of course, match number 3, part 1. Well, of course, we'll be back for match number 3, part 2, better very soon. But until then, guys, make sure you subscribe. Catch you later for the next one. But until then, we're done.